track.
College of Education in our dear institution, University of Calabar, welcome us to this two-day workshop for postgraduate students and staff of the institution. With the theme, Simplifying Research and Academic Writing in the Artificial Intelligence AI Era. Is a topic I believe all of us are interested in. Hence, we have this number. And to begin with, we are going to invite some of our dignitaries who will share this event for us before we can start. But before then, can you put your hands together for yourself, for coming, for the privilege to be here, for the privilege to be alive, to witness this day. You are not clapping for yourself. I say clap for yourself. I didn't say clap for me. On that note, let me respectfully invite to the high table, some people call it head table, the Dean of our Faculty of Vocational and Entrepreneurial Education, Professor Mrs. Love Asor. Please, a round of applause for her. Keep clapping, keep clapping. She ensures that this event must be, and it is going to be, a success. Keep clapping for her, please. To join our mother, let me invite a professor in the Department of Educational Technology in the faculty, Professor Asor. Please, a round of applause for her. To invite the lecturer for this great workshop, a man who has positioned himself to do justice to this topic, simplifying research and academic writing in the artificial intelligence era. I don't know if he's around, but please, can we put our hands together for Dr. Idoese?
Hey.
Idoese. Please keep clapping for my lecturer, Johnson. Please keep clapping for him, keep clapping for him. You are not clapping for him, sir, please, you are supposed to sit in the high table, please. Keep clapping for him, keep clapping for him. He's a great scholar. Today you will know more about him. Let me also recognize a professor who is here in our midst, though she's here seated as a participant, Professor Mrs. Igriokon. Please, can we put our hands together for her? They didn't see the person I just introduced. So can you please wave to them, please, ma'am? Let me also recognize someone, I don't know whether she's the secretary of the committee or chairman of the planning committee, but she has been doing enough to ensure that this event is a success. Dr. Agnes, if you please, a round of applause for her. I want to also recognize all the committee members that are here. Please, can we put our hands together for them? Begin this program. Let me invite, should I say, the chairman of the planning committee, Dr. Agnes, if you want to please give us an opening prayer. Please, can we all rise as we pray?
Good morning, distinguished the dean and the other professors and my fellow colleagues. And I want to thanks for this moment. We give you thanks for everyone that has been here. We give you thanks even for the weather that you have made favorable for us. Thank you for the program that is about to kickstart. Thank you for even the presenter. Thank you for all that have made it to be in this occasion. Father, we pray for wisdom. We pray for guidance. We pray for all that we desire, that it shall be a success in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Father, for I know you answer us even when we have not prayed. For in Jesus' name we are praying. Amen.
Keep standing as we take the unique song.
Neath the broad expanse of Nigeria's sky stands a school with a vision bright, ever holding the banner of knowledge. I will go forward by wisdom's might. All hail to thee, our Master. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar. May our quest for knowledge in every field have its purpose to serve mankind. May the fervent hope that our efforts yield fruits for all who will come behind. All hail to thee, our Master. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar. Mighty God, from whom all knowledge comes, let the wisdom in us overflow. May the knowledge gained in our campus sphere guide our steps as we onward go. All hail to thee, our Master. We have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar.
Thank you. You can take your seats. At this point, let me invite the Dean of our faculty, Professor Mrs. Love Asor, for his opening remarks. Please, can we put our hands together for her?
Thank you very much. Good morning, the chairman of this great program today, and the team of his planners who are also here, the professors also here seated, and the great Nigerian students. Great Nigerian students. Great Nigerian students. You are all welcome. You're welcome. It's actually a wonderful period this morning, or season, or time that God led. I am seeing it as a God-led program because it's so wonderful and timely, so beautiful to catch up with what is happening in the world today. to improve in our writing skills as Nigerian students. Research work made easy is why we are here today. You are in a wonderful program today, and your life and your research and everything about your school program will never have any other difficulty again, because you are going to be exposed to what will cause you overcome these challenges we are seeing here. Everything will be made very, very simple for us. So you will write without giving it to some other person to write for you. Many students are not the ones writing their projects. But we have come to destroy those strongholds, those things that makes us feel we cannot do it. Though AI is so sweet, it's so beautiful, it makes the task very easy, it makes everything very simple. We are told that anything that has an advantage, you turn that advantage upside down, it gives you a disadvantage. AI has a behavior that I don't like. If you ask AI one question now, and you ask that same question 2 or 3 times, it gives you 3 different answers. And then I don't like what AI also does, but very wonderful. It can give you a tool with which to use in doing whatever you are doing when it comes to research. But I tell you, before you conclude the research work, you won't find that source again. So you are so blessed that you have a lecturer, the chairman, and the team members who have you at heart and feel they should package a thing like this to make it very, very easy and simple for all of us. I don't want you to joke. We are not happy that we couldn't, take off yesterday. We tried. He struggled with the theme, calls, running here and there. But notwithstanding, since we are in an AI generation or era, we are also learning to tell AI that we are faster than AI. So what we ought to have taken for 2 days, because we are also AI inclined, God will help us to take it in today and complete it in Jesus' name. So don't be discouraged. Don't feel, why not yesterday? We can still cover. We can still get it. And that is why we want to start. Our provost was supposed to be here. I asked him where he went to, because he promised me he was going to. He said yesterday evening, the last flight he was traveling to, or he traveled to Abuja. Is it Abuja you said? Abuja. And our former provost also promised he's going to come. I guess when you got here this morning, you met one other program. Those are the distractions we had. But notwithstanding, we have started. The thing caused a little crack in our arrangement. Even the people that ought to be here with us, the person they are going to bury today was one person that the school couldn't do without. So in all areas, in all departments, in all faculties, when it comes to NYSC, he was the pillar. So that is why even today we were kept, we were on hold until they finished. But thank God they started early. So you are welcome. I want to appreciate your coming, and I pray that the Lord will grant you fastness in grasping the teachings of today. In Jesus' name.
Can you clap for the dean of the faculty? I didn't say you should clap for me. I said clap for the dean of the faculty.
Can you breathe in and breathe out? It's time for us to listen to a a scholar, someone I respect so much. If you don't know him, you have to go extra mile, and today is like an open window for you to know who this lecturer is. He's young, handsome, but apart from that, there's something that is in him that he's about to give to us today. So I want to appeal that as I introduce him, please pay attention to this lecture, that the gains of registering and participating in this lecture, you will not miss it. So permit me as I invite a lecturer for today, Dr. Johnson I.E. A round of applause for him. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping.
Thank you very much. I don't think I'm comfortable with that clap and the welcome. No, don't clap, don't worry. I'm going to go back to my seat. He will introduce me again. I will come back. You will welcome me. MC, come please.
You know, many years ago, as I knew him, I don't think that is what he's trying to act now. But if you know him, you will know that he's an actor, he's a movie producer, and he's a movie director. So, but we have to do justice to what he has said, because to prepare this, to me, is bogus. And for all that don't know what it is, it looks like a mirage. But somebody is going to break it down for us. So permit me once again to introduce to us our guest lecturer, Dr. Johnson I.E. A round of applause for him. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our wonderful Dean, Professor Love Asor. She is a wonderful leader. From the first day I came in contact with her, even when she was the head of Department of Adult and Continuing Education, and then she became our Dean, she has been wonderful all along. Someone that sees that you have a little and she wants the little to multiply. She's a valuable mother. And then if some of us who are not our biological children have these things to say about her, I'm sure the biological children are really blessed to call her mother. So for those of you in Faculty of Vocational and Entrepreneurial Education, I would love to say to you that na your mama be this so, you no get another one. Thank you. My dear, I salute you. Thank you very much for being a wonderful mother to all of us. And then in the Department of Educational Technology, we have a professor who is also here, sitting right beside our dean. And she is one of the founding members of the Department of Educational Technology and a professor of professors. And if you are of educational technology, I will also say to you that na your mama be this so, you no get another one. Thank you very much. I salute you, Professor Inasuko. And now to the business of the day. Let me not fail to salute every one of you seated here. It would take a lot to have suspended a number of things to come out and be a part of this workshop. This workshop got inspired by the fact that each time we would have a defense, you would find out that some of the students would be having issues that are very avoidable. And some border on the fact that in departments that are not directly linked with educational evaluation, it is believed that research is not your business. I had that orientation. It affected me badly. So when I got to where I did my PhD program at University of Nigeria, Nsukka, I realized that research was everybody's business. And so since I was on study, please check the echo. Since I was on study leave already, I had to brace up and put myself together to learn what I would have to use to sustain myself as a researcher. Because when you come to do a PG program, you have signed that you want to be a researcher. And the work of a researcher is to identify problems and then adopt systematic, methodical, and scientific strategies in finding practical and replicable solutions to them. And that does not happen by accident. You have to fortify yourself with the mental know-how to navigate the process. And that's why we are here. It is true that we couldn't have it yesterday, like my dean rightly said, we did our best, but we couldn't have our way. But we are here. And I promise you on my honor that everything that you have to learn would be learned. I promise. And then, before we start, I want to crave your indulgence. For those who don't believe in God, well, no apologies. I respect your stand. But I believe in God, and I believe in the supernatural. And when something is beyond me, I lean on the supernatural. And at that point, I will reach out to the resource that is beyond physical and tap into it, and it works 100 over 100 on me. So I don't know how you think without the help of the divine that you will learn in one day what people learn in sometimes 4 years and still struggle with. So you need the help of God. And I want you to bow your heart wherever you are and just ask God for that help. Paul would write to different churches, and after writing, he would say that the eyes of your understanding may be enlightened. So you pray to God and say, open the eyes of my understanding. Everything that will be done here today, everything that will be said today, help me to understand even more than what the presenter can explain. Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Dear Father, have your way. I pray for every heart to receive illumination by your Spirit. And I ask in the name of Jesus that you speak to me and speak through me. And at the end of this time, no one steps out here the same. Thank you for answered prayer. In Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. So we go to simplifying research and academic writing in the artificial intelligence era. So we have to look at two components of this topic. First of all would be the research and academic writing. And then we will look at the artificial intelligence. Whether you like it or not, artificial intelligence has come to stay. And artificial intelligence, like our dean said, in itself is not the problem. Just like cocaine is not a problem. Just like tramadol is not a problem. But the abuse would constitute a problem. So when you use AI ethically, without abusing it, the world over, it is an acceptable norm. But when you go into the abuse of AI, which we will look into later, you create problems more than solutions. Are we together? Good. So we will start with the research component of the title. Like I said earlier, when you're talking about research, you're talking about identifying a problem and then going through systematic, methodical, and scientific processes to find solutions to the problem that will be replicable and sustainable. So it's so systematic because it goes through a let-down procedure that go together and also could be done independently. It is methodical because you follow let-down science or research method to identify where the problem is, to design an instrument for data collection, to collect the data, to score and code your data, to analyze your data and reach your findings. And then it is scientific because you go through the scientific processes. After you've identified the problem, you have to produce your hypothesis, tentative intelligent guess that could go left or right. So when you've come up with your hypothesis, you work with the process of getting data to validate or nullify your hypothesis. And when you validate your hypothesis or find a solution to the problem, you go ahead to make recommendations. But if you don't find a solution, you test another possible hypothesis. That's the scientific process. But in education, what we do is that once we come to the end of the findings, we report. Are we together? Okay. So, sir, roll the first slide. So, in solving educational problem or in carrying out a research, there are questions you need to answer saliently. The first question would be, what problem have I identified to solve? What problem have I identified to solve? The second thing could be, what gap exists in literature that I want to fill? This is where researchers don't pay attention to. You just see somebody studying or doing a master's program, it gets to a point where they say, okay, you'll be writing research, she goes to AI, or he goes to AI to look for topics. Meanwhile, there are problems all around you that are crying for solutions. Meanwhile, there are gaps in literature that call for filling. So when you are able to identify a problem or a research gap, you have set the tone for the research. Now, the question that we would need to answer would be, first of all, where can you find a problem or research gap? And a number of them are up there. So the first one is the literature and research abstracts. You go through literature and sometimes with a bias. For me, I'm of educational technology and my specialty is digital media and multimedia. So when I'm searching literature, I want to see what other scholars have done. Sometime last month, I got to find out that there is no multimedia theory that addresses immersive realities. And that is my next project. So when you go into literature and abstracts are summaries from completed works. You'll be able to see, okay, this is what this person did. And if this person did this, you scrutinize the population, you scrutinize the sample, you scrutinize the instrument used for data collection, and even data analysis. If you find loopholes, you have a new research. Are we together? Then you can also check completed studies in the libraries, university libraries, faculty libraries, college libraries, departmental libraries. You check works that have been done in your field. When you check those works, at the end of every research work, there's what is called, or research reported document, there's what is called suggestions for further studies. That gives you a leeway to where the researcher stopped and where the researcher expects the next researcher to pick up from. Are we together? So the next point is proceedings from conferences, seminars, and workshops. At the end of every conference, there's a compilation, a compiled document that has all the presentations done at the conference. And by conference, I don't mean anyone should go about attending unnecessary conferences. I have a bias. So if I'm attending a conference, it should be within my specialty. Are we together? So when you get that proceedings and go through it, there will be so much to see in terms of problem and gaps in literature. And then lectures and presentations, inaugural lectures, lectures between lecturer and students, you will hear things that will make you see research gaps. The present PhD student I teach in my department, in one of the lectures, after the lectures, one of them met me and said, "Sir, while you were teaching, I found this as something to use for my research work." And I said, "Wonderful." We fine-tuned it together. He has not started the work, but the work will go well. I can tell from the beginning. Are we together? And it's something that is innovative. So from lectures, you can, ladies and gentlemen, my HOD just walked into the hall. Please, a round of applause for him. Usher, please bring him to the high table. Dr. Anthony Bishong, please give it up for him. Welcome, sir. That's the head of department of the prestigious educational technology. Welcome, sir. So, you could also get something to research on from discussions with colleagues and experts. You have a discussion with your colleague who shares your research interest and maybe experts within the field. And you find out that this thing that is discussed is a gap that needs to be filled. And unfortunately, sometimes you find scholars engaging in gossips and discussions that don't lead anywhere, that won't even solve their personal problems. And it ought not so to be. If you are discussing with your colleague, it should be something about solving problems within your sphere. And then, you should also be sincere to your colleague. Like I talked about my PhD candidate, he walked up to me. He didn't steal the idea. Never steal a research idea. The ethics that govern research work is transparency. So if you come and meet with me, we discuss, and then from that discussion, you have something to work on. You should be transparent to discuss with me that, okay, I've picked on this to do a research work. We can even collaborate. Research is collaboration. Are we together? Something happened recently in a certain department where a female student had discussed with an expert and had gotten a research idea. And then they were friends and they fell apart, and then she picked the research title that the expert had already worked on because they had a discussion, and went to develop a work on it and then put in for seminar presentation. And then she was blindly arrogant to even talk about the work. Because to start with, that is something that can, in fact, as much as criminality of stealing is punishable, criminality of plagiarism is a serious offense. So, okay, a time came in this university where an associate professor took a lady's work at Uniport, did abracadabra, and published. And then the lady was even lenient to write to him an email that this work is mine. He didn't care about it. The lady wrote again. He responded that anybody can work on anything. The lady wrote to appropriate quarters, and a panel was set. The associate professor was demoted to an assistant lecturer in Unical. I was present. So you don't go and steal somebody's idea and blindly be arrogant about it. You are just digging a pit and throwing yourself inside. Are we together? Transparency must be adhered to in research. Okay, so the next thing is a worrisome situation that need improvement. We will dwell on that one later. The way you see a worrisome situation, for instance, there's a course in this university, an undergraduate course offered by year one students, and you find out that history and philosophy of science records high failure rate consistently. That is a situation that calls for help. Or you just see that in the university, the students don't have good lecture venues, and that affects how they learn. That is a situation that calls for help. Depending on your field, depending on your specialty. We will get to a problem statement in due course. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just walking into the hall majestically is my amiable, just handed over college provost. Please, a round of applause for Professor Jaman Anabogo. Please, sir, do well to come to the high table. A man I love and respect so much, a man defined by dignity and academic integrity. Please celebrate him, celebrate him, celebrate him. Welcome, my prof. So, another place where you can get this kind of researchable titles from or problems could be intuition. Personally, I'm a storyteller, and I get intuition when I'm in the bedroom. Maybe I'm sitting on the seat, laying aside every weight. Something will just drop like a raindrop. If you pay attention to it, it goes into a wild idea. It happens to researchers, especially the experienced researchers. It also could come by way of revelation. For those of you that are spiritual, it could come by way of revelation. When I was a PhD candidate at UNN, I was still brainstorming on what to work on my project. I have a mentor, Professor Moses Inyangabia. I spoke with him about something. We were still brainstorming. And then, into 1 week, I couldn't arrive at where I was going. So one evening, I slept, and I had a discussion with him in the dream. And he drew my attention to something I had seen about a year ago, and a problem that exists in the universities in Cross River State. And he encouraged that I look into it. When I woke up, I did not need a prophet to tell me that that was something to use for my PhD work. I just picked on it. I still called him physically to discuss. We walked through it, and it was a successful one. So it could come by way of revelation. Are we together? Okay, next slide, sir. So when you have set out to carry out a research, one thing you must come up with would be the research title. And the research title will be made up of variables. So what are variables? They are quantities that change with objects. They could be factors or predictors or outcomes. Are we together? So when you are working with a title, you have to identify what your independent variable is and what your dependent variable is. And of course, the independent variable would be the predictor variables, the variables that you manipulate to see the outcome, which would be on the dependent variables. The dependent variables could change, but the changes will not affect the independent variable. But each time the independent variable changes, the dependent variables would change. So the independent variable has two levels. There's the primary independent variable, and there is the secondary independent variable. The primary independent variable is the variable you can manipulate. Manipulation in research simply talks about assignment of conditions. We will get to that when we are dealing with chapter 3. So, the secondary independent variable you cannot manipulate because they are occurring naturally. For instance, gender. If you have 20 students, you cannot say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go this way. You are male. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go this way, you are female. You will select them by biological assignment into male and female. That becomes your secondary independent variable, which could also be called the mediating variable. Are we together? Are we still together? Okay, so sharpen it a bit. Is it possible? Okay, I'm barely seeing. It goes sharper. Okay. So now, having said that, let us create a topic, a research title, using a worrisome situation. Are we together? Like I said, there is a course in the University of Calabar that I have observed to have consistent inconsistencies with student academic achievement. So, if I am in the curriculum, the course, let's say, for instance, is citizenship education. If I am in the curriculum department and I specialize in curriculum, I would want to find out if there is something about the course outline that is too advanced for the students who are just in their first year. If I am in anti-corruption education, I would want to find out, could it be that there's something the lecturers are doing, like setting questions that they themselves cannot answer, to make the students fail and come and sort? I will study that. But I am of educational technology, specializing in digital and multimedia. So I want to find out, what are the teaching methods adopted by the lecturers to give instructions to the student? And where I ask that question, I may decide to visit the classrooms. In each classroom, I will quietly sit and see how the lecturer is teaching. You get to find out that some classrooms are just an empty space. The students are standing. Sometimes they put up to 4 departments together in one place. No ventilation. The lecturer does not have a public address system. He's just talking. Those at the end will be pressing their phones. And at the end of the day, class has ended. So, as a person in educational technology, I go back to research. What can I use within my space, within my specialty, remember, digital media and multimedia, to offer a solution to this situation? So I go into literature, check audio visuals, check videos, check audios, check what other people have done, and then possibly I get to find out that there is something called digital storytelling, which is very suitable for citizenship education. Then I will go a step further to find out what studies have been carried out using digital storytelling and what outcomes did the researchers have. So when I've checked that, remember, the issue of crowded classroom is able to be surpassed by a digital tool, because digital device or digital means of instructional delivery allows you to deliver instructions digitally using mobile devices. Are we together? So, I keep that. Then I now ask the next question. What can I use as mediating variable? Remember, if I use digital storytelling to carry out a study, there's something called type 3 error in research. And type 3 error is when your processes are accurate, your findings are fine, research questions and hypotheses are in place. But so another variable you did not control for is responsible for the outcomes you have. For instance, I want to use digital storytelling to teach this class of maybe 40 students. And this is made up of very intelligent students. Intelligence can influence the outcome of the result, not really the effect of what I'm testing. So, in carrying out that study, I decided to use intelligence level, which will come at two levels, high and low. 50 below, low. 51 up to 100, high. And then I use that as mediating variable, so that I check the effect of the digital storytelling on my dependent variables, and then use the mediating variable as the binocular to see its influence on the outcomes. So what are the possible outcomes that I would expect to use as dependent variables? First of all, the academic achievement of students in that course is questionable. So achievement will be my dependent variable 1. Then the interest of students would have diminished. So I would take interest as second dependent variable. Then self-efficacy that comes with, when you are taught citizenship education, you should be able to handle political and social issues in the society. And that brings a boost in your self-efficacy. So you want to check, would this tool be able to boost the self-efficacy of the student? And then you may also want to check for retention. Will students be able to retain the learned information over time? Are we together? So, you now could come up with a title, but remember, your mediating variable must not always be in your title, but must always be in your background. So I could come up with a title like this: Effects of Digital Storytelling on Academic Achievement, Interest, Self-Efficacy, and Retention of Citizenship or Undergraduate Citizenship Education Students in the University of Calabar. Wonderful title. Are we together? I didn't come before. I said, effects of digital storytelling. Now, if you are not managing the number of words within your title, you can say effects of digital storytelling and academic intelligence on academic achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention of undergraduate citizenship education students in the University of Calabar. Are we good to that point? So at this point, you go boldly into your chapter 1. Remember, before you go into chapter 1, you would have done a thorough check on literature and document the needful things. Remember, you check literature within your bias. Are we together? So, sir, the next slide. So, this is a normal research reporting outline for my faculty. Apologies to those of you who are not within my faculty. I wouldn't know how yours look like, but definitely paying attention to this would make you have something wonderful to go with. Okay, so the background. The background is the first point of interaction between your work and your reader. So you want to convince your reader about the necessity of carrying out that research at the time. So how do you start your background? Let's say we work with this title and pin the title somewhere because we will work with it through all that we will have to practicalize. So you start with a general statement on citizenship education. Something like citizenship education is a course that is meant to prepare the student to be socially and politically vibrant as members of the society. It could be defined as so and so and so and so and so. You quote the author. You give another definition possibly, cite another author. And then you go into the rationale for citizenship education. The things that make the objectives that necessitated the offering of that course in the first place. And then outline the rationales, not in bullets, not in numbers, in essay. So when you've pointed out the rationale, you point out the expected benefits. And then you lament that based on this expected benefit, one would have expected that students who take this course would fly high in their learning outcomes. But sadly, that has not been the case. So you bring in typical situations. In so year, so number had F, so number had this, so number had this. Maybe 2023, 2024 academic session, 2024, 2025, this happened, 2025, 2026, this happened. Then you show your source of that data. So when you've done that, you have to also show those affected by this worrisome situation and how it's affecting them. And then you show the previous efforts made to address this situation and how that even with the effort, the worrisome situation still persists. So based on the circumstance and bearing in mind that this situation still calls for immediate, replicable, and sustainable solutions, it is a known fact from research that technology revolution has brought about a number of tools that could be used to overcome this kind of challenge, one of which is the multimedia. You show studies in multimedia and how successful they've been, and then you narrow down to digital media and digital storytelling. Then you explain digital storytelling as an advanced version of the traditional storytelling using digital tools. And then you show studies that have shown the potency of digital storytelling. And when you have done that, you hang it there by concluding at that level that there is no studies within the reach of the researcher that has experimented digital storytelling in the context of citizenship education within the University of Calabar. Then you go ahead to use one paragraph to talk about your mediating variable, which is intelligence level. You talk about what intelligence level means, why it is necessary in your work, how it can affect learning outcomes. When you finish with that paragraph, you pick on your first dependent variable, which is achievement. Explain, contextualize, rationalize it in your research. You go to the next one, which is interest, explain, conceptualize, rationalize in your research. You go to the next one, which is self-efficacy, you do the same thing. You go to the next one, which is retention, you do the same thing. I'm not saying you must use all the four dependent variables in one study. But if you're a PhD student, it will make your research very robust. I see a number of PhD candidates who finish doing research and can't even publish anything, even in local journals. May it not happen to you. So when you are doing a research and it is robust, even journals index in Scopus and Web of Science will be readily available to welcome your work. So, when you have finished explaining and rationalizing the 4 dependent variables, you conclude your background.
It is clear that this research gap exists, and this worrisome situation still calls for solution. Therefore, the researcher seeks to explore or investigate or examine the effects of digital storytelling on the academic achievement, interest, and self-efficacy of undergraduate citizenship education students in the University of Calabar. Your background is perfectly fixed. Under an ideal situation, when I say ideal situation, I'm talking about a place where scholars know what they are supposed to do in a panel, not a place where scholars are just behaving like vultures. They will form cabals and tell students you have to pay 100,000 before presentation, and when you don't pay, they are not looking at your work, they are looking at the money you've not paid, and they want to press you. That's not an ideal situation. An ideal situation is where you have experts sit down and they want to check the work on its merit. Under that ideal situation, you may just have little errors like punctuation, grammar, because you follow your presentation logically and in a systematic, scholarly manner. Are we together? So the next one is problem statement. I need to really speed up. God help me. Now, some scholars think that the worrisome situation is the problem of the study. It will not still be the problem of the study. They are just the causes of the problem, the causes of the worrisome situation. It's like you see somebody that has a headache. The person did not sleep well at night. So the cause of that headache and stress is that she didn't sleep well at night. Possibly she put money into Bet Niger and it didn't come up. And so she couldn't sleep well. Don't look at me with that eyes. I don't do gambling. Okay, so because the thing did not work, she couldn't sleep. And in the morning, she meets a doctor. The doctor will ask questions around the worrisome situation and then finds out that sleeplessness gave birth to this. So the doctor's problem now is not that she couldn't sleep. It's not also what caused the sleeplessness. The doctor's problem is will paranight. You know paranight? Paracetamol that they take to sleep well. Will paranight be able to handle the condition that led to her not sleeping well? Hallelujah. Okay, so also in educational research, the worrisome situation, which is the failure rate, is not the problem. The poor teaching method and the poor learning environment will not also be seen as a problem. The problem is, will digital storytelling be seen as a sustainable and replicable solution to the causes of this worrisome situation? So how do you start your problem statement? You start with that worrisome situation. Remember, your problem statement is an abridged version of your background. All that you will have to say, you would have already said them in the background. But here you are presenting it in a sharper form. Sometimes have a paragraph, sometimes have a page, sometimes just one page. So how do you start it? You show the worrisome situation, you show how deeply rooted it is and those affected. You show previous effort made to solve the worrisome situation and how they have not yielded anticipated results, whereas the worrisome situation still persists. And then when you have shown all that, you show that research has proven that when multimedia is used as intervention under such circumstance, it could yield seeable outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, Episcopal in the house, the 001 of Roman Catholic Church worldwide. A round of applause for my colleague, Dr. John Imoke Eten. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you around. And ladies and gentlemen, pardon my inability to perceive accurately. I was totally carried away that I did not very well recognize the coming of my sub-dean. Sir, please pardon me. A round of applause for Professor Alawa. Please, sir, ushers, please bring him to the table. And we also have, by the instruction of my dean, Professor Mary Iam. Please, a round of applause for her. Please come to the high table, Prof. Okay. So, whereas you have established that digital storytelling from research works has been proven to be able to solve these problems, and these problems are still yearning for sustainable and replicable solutions, you will now conclude your problem statement with the problem itself. Now, this is the problem, and you state it in question form. Therefore, the researcher seeks to answer the question, what are the effects of digital storytelling on the academic achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention of undergraduate citizenship education students in the University of Calabar? Question mark. Close it. If anybody argues with you, call my number. Okay, so when you are done with that, you go to the next one, 1.3, which is the purpose of the study. We are still strictly looking at the title we have created already. So, what is the purpose of the study? The central purpose of the study is your research title. So, the purpose of this study is to explore the effect of digital storytelling on the academic achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention of, you put it all together. Specifically, the study seeks to investigate the effect of digital storytelling on academic achievement of citizenship education undergraduates. Effect of digital storytelling on academic interests of citizenship education undergraduate. Effect of digital storytelling on academic self-efficacy of citizenship education undergraduate. Effect of digital storytelling on academic, on retention of citizenship education undergraduate. How many have you got now? Good. So remember, your secondary independent variable is intelligence level. So you want to check again, number 5, influence of intelligence level on academic achievement of citizenship education taught with digital storytelling. You do the same for interest, you do the same for self-efficacy, you do the same for retention. And when you are done, remember, the influence seeks to check whether the intelligence level, don't worry sir, don't worry, the intelligence level could influence the outcomes. But there's another dimension that that research would have, which will be the interaction effect. If digital storytelling interacts with the intelligence level to produce outcomes, so you can check the interaction effect between digital storytelling and intelligence level of undergraduate citizenship education students. You do the same for interest, you do the same for self-efficacy, you do the same for retention. And how many research objectives would you have? 12. With the 12 objectives, if are a PhD student. Any day you are going for defense, from proposal to your post-field, you need a blazer that is bigger than mine, because your work is robust. Hallelujah. So, with these specific objectives, you go to your research questions, where you put the specific objectives in question form. Remember, your questions must not answer to yes and no. And then, from there, you translate them to research hypothesis in null form. Are we together? You can do that, right? Good. So when you have translated the 12 of them into research hypothesis, you move to the next item, which would be significance of the study. Significance of the study is where you write those that will benefit from the study. The first paragraph, you list them. The students, the lecturers, the policy, the management of the university, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, even the researchers that may have interest in researching within that field. Are we together? So, in the first paragraph, you list them. Then, in subsequent one paragraph for each, possibly, except when the paragraph is too short, you can use two. You explain how each of them will benefit from the study. Are we together? And remember that you need to show that the published findings of this study would be useful or helpful to, you list them. Are we together? Are we together? Please, I need that feedback. I'm a teacher, so when I don't get feedback, I feel I've left some persons behind, which will not be good for me. So are we together now? Okay, so the next one will be assumptions of the study. There are things you need to believe that the study will have. For instance, the problem of the study exists within the area of study and the population. Then the sample of the study is a fair representation of the population. The instrument of data collection after validation and reliability check would be able to elicit the right responses and data for the study. Then the instrument for data analysis would yield appropriate findings for the study. Are we together? With that, you move past them and go to the scope of the study. The first scope would be the title. And then you show the area that the study will be carried out. You show your variables, the independent variables, of course, the primary and secondary independent variables, then your dependent variables. And then you show the population scope, sample scope. And then you show how long the study would span. In some works, they may require that within the scope, you show the instrument for data analysis. It's still subject to research debate. Are we together? So, for instance, if the study will be carried out within the 2025-2026 academic session, you state it there, and you are finished with that. So you go to the next one. Scope of the study. Limitations of the study. What limitations of the study simply would be? Let's say, for instance, you are doing digital storytelling and you want to give the package or the instructional material to the students using their digital devices. And you find out that of maybe 40 students in maybe your experimental group 1, about 5 do not have an Android phone or a mobile device. That becomes a limitation because they are part of your sample. However, it's something you have surmounted. Also, if you are supposed to use all the lecturers in educational technology, and then you have reported the population, and then you've talked about the sample, possibly you want to use sensors, and then you want to use all the lecturers. And on the day you come, Dr. Imoke is not around. He's usually hardly around. I hope he's not around. He's not around, I said it. And then maybe Dr. Johnson is not around. He's somewhere. And you take your data and you go. You don't have a means of reaching them. That becomes a limitation. But you will go ahead with the study. So it's not that I didn't have transport to go to the place of data collection. Or I wanted to go for data collection and it started raining. No. Now, in reporting your limitations too, you must be very transparent, because your suggestion for further studies would be linked to the limitations you encounter in carrying out the study. Are we together? And then you go to your definition of terms, like the title we are looking at. What would be the terms? One, digital storytelling. You will define it. Remember, you're not citing any author. This is you defining concept within the binoculars of your study. So digital storytelling in this study is seen as this. Then intelligence level is this. Then academic achievement is this. You define interest, you define self-efficacy. Of course, you don't need Bandura in this case, according to what it means in your study. And then you also define retention. And when you are finished, look for a chilled bottle of beer. For those of you that take alcohol, drink, sleep. You have finished chapter 1. Hallelujah. So you now go to chapter 2. Next slide, sir. Chapter 2 is where you pay attention to review. And you review in levels. There's what is called conceptual review. There's also what is called theoretical review. And there's what is called empirical review. So under conceptual review, remember there are concepts in your study that you need to explain, conceptualize, show what other scholars say about it, and then justify what that concept is doing in your study. That could take about 2 to 3 pages. You do that for all the concepts. And when you are done with that, you go to what is called theoretical background. You need to understand what a theory is and why a theory is necessary. A theory is a scholarly postulation that intelligently explains a variable or variables and the relationship between them and possible predictions of the outcome of such relationships. So when you are using a theory to support your work or to lend foundation to your work, what you are saying is that this theory sorry, please. The MC has a spiritual problem. Submit me after now. So now, when you have used a theory, let's say for the study we are looking at, I could decide to use behaviorism, the stimulus and response. The stimulus would be my independent variable. The response would be the outcome variables, achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention. Then I could decide to also use theory of multimedia learning that explains the effect of multimedia when effectively utilized for instructional delivery. And then because I'm going to use digital medium to communicate the instructional content, I could decide to use connectivism, which is a theory that explains that connectivity is provided digitally and could make for effective learning. So I could use the 3 theories for the work. And now, there's a problem with some persons who do not know the difference between a theory and a model. while the theory explains this relationship, a model does not explain relationships. It shows you the step-by-step procedure to follow. There's what they call TAM, Technology Acceptance Model. I think I will do a paper next week to address that matter. Technology Acceptance Model is not a model, it's a theory. So that model is misplaced there. Are we together? So when you're talking about model, you're talking about a guide like a D model, SAM model, Asor model, and Agile model. They show you step-by-step guide to follow. And if you're carrying out an evaluation design, we'll talk about that in another session, you need a model. If you're carrying out an experimental design, you also need a model. And the model is to show the processes and procedure you will follow in your intervention. So in your chapter 3, when we get to chapter 3, I'll show you where model comes in. But under theoretical background, strictly stay with your theory. Are we together? So what do you do with theory? You pick a theory, you present it, behaviorism by so and so and so. You mention the proponents of the theory and the year the theory was propounded. Then you start with your explanation, give the basic tenets of the theory, and link the basic tenets to your work. Once you've done that, you are finished with theoretical framework. Are we together? And then you go to the next one, which is the empirical review. Empirical review, like in the study we are looking at, you will want to review studies that have been carried out using digital storytelling, especially maybe in the universities in different parts of the world, and maybe you come down to where you are. And if you don't have sufficient studies within the universities, you also look at what they did in secondary schools. Are we together? I said, are we together? Yeah. So, when you have done that, what you do is to carry an abridged summary of each study you review. When you take that summary, the summary should carry the title, the person that carried out the study, the area of the study, the research design, instrument for data collection, population sample. You must arrange them logically. The instrument for data analysis and the findings that the person reached. Now this is where a number of persons around here don't pay attention. For each work you review, you need to show the agreement and point of departure between the reviewed work and your work. Let's say the person looked at the effect of digital storytelling on English language teaching in University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Sorry, on academic achievement of English language students in University of Nigeria, Nsukka. That study is agreeing with you because it's digital storytelling. And it's also agreeing with you because it makes use of academic achievement. And then possibly, the instrument for data collection may also be what you will use, which is achievement test. And possibly instrument for data analysis. But the area of study is different from yours. Strike that cleanly. And the variables that you are considering as dependent variables are wider than what this study is considering. So you show that. And possibly your population and sample. Are we together? So you do that for all the studies. Like this title we are talking about. You can say digital storytelling and academic achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention of undergrad, or on retention, leave it there, don't add anything again. Now, some persons in some panels will tell you you have to break them down. No, it's not necessary. Though some persons may argue till tomorrow, but it's not necessary. The reason is that there are some studies that you come across that will use achievement and maybe interest. And if you are looking at achievement alone, and then you look at interest later, will you be repeating the reviews? No. But if you're looking at everything together, you'll be able to break the differences and then show where they agree and where they don't agree. You do same for your secondary independent variable, and when you are done with the empirical review. You go to the appraisal. Appraisal is summary of what you have done in chapter 2. Where you start with how the journey began. The review took care of conceptual framework, covering, you mentioned the concept. You now go to the theories that you use, you mention the theories, and then you go to the empirical reviews, what you did. And lastly, you must clearly show the gap that you have identified in literature that you think your study will fill. When you have done that, your chapter 2 is hallelujah.
Please, can we give him another round of applause? He deserves it. No, he's my teacher. I know him very well. You will not see him use anything. It will just be, for us. For us. I don't know. The thing is just inside his head. Can we put him another round of applause, please? Let me recognize here present the Vice Chancellor of our dear institution, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Ekaite Ena. A round of applause for her. I've just been informed that we have a Professor of Home Economics here present. I don't really know her details. Prof, can you wave to us, please? Thank you. We also have here the head of Department of Home Economics, Dr. Anna Deji. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you. At this point, please, I want to appeal to us, or should I say encourage us to jot down questions, each chapters, jot down questions that you ask later on. Let me, at this point, invite the Vice Chancellor of our dear institution, ably represented by the DVC Academic, to please say a few words by opening remarks and to declare this event that I believe has started open. Please, a round of applause for her, please. Please, we are clapping for the Vice Chancellor of our dear institution.
I thought the event has already been opened because as sitting down there, I was enjoying the lecture. The Dean, Faculty of Vocational and Entrepreneurial Studies, the lecturer is not a guest lecturer, it's the lecturer because looking at the poster is one of us. The head of Department of Edu Technology, the provost, I would have made a mistake today, the immediate past provost of the College of Education, who incidentally was on seat when this program was vetted and was organized. I recognize you specially. I'm not good with protocol, so you see me jump from here to there, just pardon me, take me like that. Professors in the house, the HOD of Home Economics, why are you sitting at the back? I have seen a number of my friends, I've seen another professor there. I hope you are not here to teach us how to write in French. How to do research in French. I greet you all. The postgraduate, I learned this program is actually targeted at the postgraduate students primarily and early career researchers. You are all welcome. The Vice Chancellor would have loved to be here. In short, he had planned to be here because it's just about 30 minutes ago that he called me to step in and represent him. So all along he had desired and really hoped to be here. But unfortunately he cannot. And he asked me to rep. So he knows you are here. And he sends his warm regards to all of you. The topic, simplifying research and academic writing in artificial intelligence era, would not have come in at a better time than now in our academic journey as an institution. And I want to especially congratulate our postgraduate students for having an opportunity to sit like this before you begin to make the mistakes that some of us make in research. So I want to say that it's an opportunity of a lifetime and you shouldn't joke with it. When we talk about research, simplifying research and academic writing, you know, research is all about what do I have, the what, the how, the when, everything, the way of writing and publishing. You can have a very good idea and you don't even know what to do with it. You can have a good idea, like some of you now will conceive very wonderful research topic. So how do I present it? And when it comes to sending it out, how do I section it to send it out so I don't push out so much information at the same time? So we talk about both the how, what do I want to present, what do I want to communicate, and beyond writing. Just 2 days ago we were talking about it. Beyond writing, you also talk about the way. This work that I am doing, where do I have in mind? Do you want it to end in your cupboard? So even as you are doing research, you have your targeted audience. You also have start preparing where you are going to send that work to. How impactful. There are certain places you conceive that you are. Most of my students, when I started writing, doing very serious writing as an academic, and for almost, let me say, my early years as an academic, I didn't even know there was something called the Scopus Stopsurutas Web of Science until when I went on sabbatical leave. And we were just discussing jokingly with a colleague. And the person said, some of these professors said, if you send them out, you will not even find some of them. What are they researching on? What are they writing? I said, what are you trying to say? He said, let's go to Web of Science and check out some of these names in these our departments. And he started checking. I just kept quiet. I pretended as if I knew what he was talking about. After that, I called myself to order and started writing. And incidentally, by that time, most of my good works had already gone. You know, you can have a very good work and you don't even know where to send it to. So it ends up in some local databases, and you may have to go back after so many years to try to pull them out, to send them. So I came back, I put my house in order, and by that time, most of, at this stage, why I say you are very, very fortunate is that at this stage, the opportunity you have if you are a PhD student is that you have so much time to do research. You can do a whole lot. After now, you may not have that time again to do. So if you waste your time with your PhD and you didn't do so much, people have published 7 articles, 5, 8, and so if you waste this time as a research student and you didn't use it to do something meaningful that can actually give you a leap as an academic, you've lost it. And so some of us wasted that time got our publications out of our PhD work and wasted them because we did not know. So this is a time to sit down and learn and know what to do and how far you can expand your work, so that when you, for those of you that are coming into academics or are already in academics, so that you can be taking bit by bit from there and be sending them out. Because after that, the pressure of work may not allow you to do so much. So that's one of the reasons I say you are fortunate. And we are also in an era where we are not counting publications again. We are not counting how many did you publish, but how impactful. Who is reading your work? How many citations do you have? So you can sit down and publish as many things. If nobody is reading it, it still does not amount to anything. And nobody is seeing you. In short, in most organizations now, academic organization, before they hire you, they check you out. You don't know that somebody is checking you out. And when they finish going, they check your status on Scopus, on Reuters. They will now give you a call. So it's very important that the faculty has put together this workshop. And I want to congratulate the faculty for doing this for us, and also for reaching out to the right audience. The right people are here. I have seen them. You have reached out to the right audience. I must congratulate you and the planning committee. I also want to congratulate our lecturer for today. I don't know you so much, but sitting down there, I think you know what you are doing. Congratulations. Before I drop the mic, I want to say that it is one thing to sit like this, to listen to this lecture and participate in the workshop. It's another thing allowing this workshop to change your way of thinking. Because we would have gathered in vain. The investment would have been in vain if we rise up from here and we still do things the way we're doing. They talk about scope, you don't know scope. They talk about limitation, you don't know what limitation is about. You don't know how to define problem of study. You don't know the difference between justification and significance of study. And so you would have wasted your time. So let it be that at the end of today, when next you sit down to write, people will know that you actually attended a workshop and that the workshop made a lasting impact in your life. We look forward to seeing more beautiful write-ups, more wonderful research works coming from our postgraduate students after this workshop. And before also I drop the mic, for those of you who came for the last convocation, there was another dimension of awards that we brought for those who were there on Saturday. You saw the two young men that got award, 1 million each, for research, technology, and technology, innovation, and enterprise. That award has come to stay. And I want to use this opportunity to challenge you that come next convocation, you should compete for 1 million naira. You can do something, just a small thing for your life. Congratulations and well done. Have a pleasant day. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. Please, you can do better. Can you put your hands together for Friday?
Going forward, let me invite the immediate past provost of the College of Education, Professor Jaman Anabogugo, please step forward for his remarks.
Thank you. My Vice Chancellor, Professor Effiong Efanga Offiong, here ably represented by our own amiable DVC academics, our sister, Professor Ekaite Enang. You are well done, ma. The Dean of Faculty of Vocational Education and Entrepreneurial Education, the heads of departments, our very amiable professors here in our midst. I can see some of us here. Thank you for the solidarity. The heads of departments, the guest lecturer. This is a young man. We didn't cut, our path didn't cut across until I became the provost of college. And in the process of assessing files for promotion, I found out that there was a problem with his presentation. And that was the day I took note of him. And from that day to today, he is talking more like a researcher. And that is the core of the university. Dr. Johnson, keep doing what you are doing well. To other colleagues, our students, postgraduate students and undergraduate students, if there are, you are welcome. And please pay attention. What this young man is doing is the foundation for greatness in every academic institution. The logic of research, because without you understanding the logic of research, you can't move on. So that is what he's doing justice to. In psychological and mental activities, measurement activities, we have manifest variables and hypothetical constructs. And these are the things you need to bring together to give meaning to human behavior. Dependable results from human behavior must come from your ability to understand and interpret behavior. You can't do this successfully without adequate background of research. Johnson, I sat down here, doing a good work. From the presentation I saw, just one small correction I want to make before I continue. There is background to the study. You mistakenly said background of the study. Yes, I think so. Yes. So it is supposed to be background to the study. Now, what is research all about? Why are you carrying out research? What is the importance of research? I want you to know that in this university, we have the medical college, we have the graduate college, we have the College of Education, we have other faculties. All the faculties are involved in what? Research. The difference is that if you go to philosophy, they do a different kind of research. If you go to the sciences, more is experimental and quasi-experimental researches. If you come to the social sciences and education that we find ourselves, that is where you have all the researches mixed together. You know why? Every profession in the world is tied to education. So we do both, both experimental researches and non-experimental researches. In education, in the history of education, students do a different research. Philosophy of education students do a different research. But it's the same research. Now, what are we doing? The foundation we lay for research is the foundation for discovery. The universities have gone beyond just doing researches, basic research. We are now trying to embark on applied research, research that we can use to solve human problems. Like the DVC said, whether we like it or not, the next award that people are going to win, just like the best graduating student came from this faculty, the next award, one of it must come from this faculty. Yes. And this is a challenge to each and every one of us here. We must sustain that. We must sustain that. Now, do you know what I do? I was very proud that the best graduating student came from my college. When this was announced, I was still the provost of college. But today, I stand here before you as the pioneer provost of College of Education. Today before you, I'm the former provost of education. And in good faith, very happy. Because by the grace of God, God has given me an opportunity to step into the university and leave my mark. I want to encourage you that if you take anything for granted, do not take research for granted. Do not. Because in social settings, everywhere you find yourself, you must speak research. Because it's the only language that academic institutions speak. You know what it means? If you go to France now, from English-speaking country, and you find yourself in France, and they're speaking French, you are not there. Am I right? The language of research is the language of the university. Don't exclude yourself from that language. Take pains and study what we are doing here. God bless you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. That is our immediate past provost of college. Please, because our Vice Chancellor will be stepping out in a moment, we'll take a group photograph with a member of the high table.
It's heavy in my mouth to say immediate past provost. Be that as it may, like he said, he has left his mark of academic integrity, and that mark remains. I acknowledge and celebrate you, sir. My Dean, Professor Asor, I acknowledge you and I celebrate you, ma'am. And every professor here present, I bow before you. My colleagues, my head of department has stepped out, and other colleagues, I thank you for coming. Then the participants of the workshop or in the workshop, I thank you for making time. Yet we go into the second segment, the second session of the workshop. This is where it gets more technical.
We go to look at chapter 3, the research methodology, the nucleus of research, the technical powerhouse of research. Where you misfire here, you've misfired. So, Hello, sir. Okay. So first of all, you have the 3.1. Okay, let me answer this question before I proceed. Someone asked me, would there be a material for participants? Yes, there's plan for that. That's why you got, or the persons at the table got your email addresses and phone numbers. You will receive a material on your email with the certificate of attendance, and there will be videos. There are 2 cameras recording. I am thinking whether to upload the video on a YouTube channel and share the link, or you want to have a way of getting it, you can call one of the numbers on the flyer. Okay, so the methodology, sorry, it's wrongly spelled, but it should be methodology, pardon that, starts with the research design. Now, the research design is the blueprint that a researcher would follow in carrying out a given research. It guides how you go about your data collection, your coding and answering of research questions, whether or not you will need hypothesis in the study, and how you would analyze data to justify or reject your hypothesis and then reach your findings. So there are a number of research designs, and we will start from the back and come forward. So the first one we will look at will be the historical design. Historical design borders on studies that look at the past and stops at the past. For instance, if a researcher is interested in investigating the leadership styles of vice chancellors in the University of Calabar from 1990 to 2020, that is in the past. That is historical. Are we together? So, this kind of research also rests on words of mouth and review of literatures. You have to talk to people that were around during that time and check records. So it works with analytical data. Hello. So when you're taking a study like this, what you're saying is that the study I want to do, I will meet people that will give me information who were present when this thing happened. Or you want to study about the post-Civil War between 1970 and 1990, the political activities of the post-Civil War from 1970 to 1990. That is still a historical research. Are we together? Now, this kind of research, like I said earlier, pays attention to qualitative data in most cases, because it's words of mouth and review of literature. Now, away from the historical research, you have what is called the survey design. This word survey is an umbrella name that has a number of other designs under it. So sometimes I'm in a panel and I see a work. The person presenting the work says, my design is survey design. And I ask, what kind of survey? So under survey design, or let's even understand what survey design is. Survey design has to do with a study that investigates something as it exists and relationships as they exist and how they affect how the independent variable affects the dependent variables presently. Are we together? So we have the descriptive survey. Descriptive survey is a typical study that looks at things the way they are occurring. For instance, you want to look at the leadership styles of principals in public secondary schools in Calabar education zone. What you are interested in is their leadership styles, bonquem. So when you are able to find out the leadership styles, your research is completed. And this kind of research will not need hypothesis. You just work with research questions, and then you use descriptive statistics to answer your research questions, and that is it. Are we together? Are we together? Good. So now, away from descriptive survey, when with the same title, you are interested in finding out if years of experience or gender or qualification would affect the leadership style of the principals, you have left descriptive survey into what is called analytical survey. And within analytical survey, you would need hypotheses so that you check the inference. Are we together? Good. So away from the analytical survey, you have what is called correlation study. Correlation is a kind of design that checks the magnitude and degree of relationship between variables. Magnitude and maybe degree or direction of those relationships. When you are checking such relationships, you are involved with what is called correlational design. Are we together? For instance, you want to find out the relationship between lecturers' style of teaching and the academic achievement of the student. When you're looking at relationship at all, you are looking at correlational design. And in correlational design, there is a level it gets to that is not just checking relationships, it will now be looking at what is called predictive correlation. That is where you are looking at how the independent variable predicts the dependent variables. For instance, you are looking at students' course in mathematics in junior secondary schools as covariate of students' course in mathematics in senior secondary schools. When you're looking at a study like this, the independent variable is considered as the predictor, while the dependent variable is considered the criterion variable. And in most cases, you use multiple regression analysis to check or test your hypothesis. Are we together? Do you understand to that point? Where are you lost? The correlation, right? Good. Now, if you want to check the relationship between my HOD style of leadership and the behavior of the staff in the department. That is a correlational study. Because you are checking how that leadership style affects the staff output. But when you say HOD's leadership style as predictor of staff output in the Department of Educational Technology, you have elevated yourself from mere correlation to predictive correlation. Because the independent variable, being the HOD's leadership style, becomes a predictor of the staff output. Is it clearer now? God punish devil. Okay, so you have another one which is panel study. Panel study is a kind of survey where you call experts in a given field to come and give you expert information on a certain subject matter. For instance, you want to look at the issue of pollution within the university and maybe waste management. So you call somebody from environmental education, you call somebody from the medical field, you call somebody from the management, maybe you call somebody from the student unionism, and then maybe 5 persons to set up a panel. And you ask them questions that border on the state of pollution in the university and how to go about effectively managing them. That is called a panel study. There's also a kind of, please refuse to be distracted. Like I said, this is a very technical point. If you miss this, your work is in disarray. So the last one is the cohort analysis. Now, cohort analysis is a kind of study that pays attention to, for instance, the number of students that come into educational technology in year 1, 2025-2026 academic session. So we get to 2026-2027 academic session, we check how many dropped out, how many failed, how many have moved to the next session as second year students. That kind of analysis is called cohort. And it's a style of, is a survey design. Are we together? Okay. Then the next one is a case study. Now, a case study is where you pick a particular object to study. And the findings of such study stays within that object. You don't generalize it. For instance, you want to check the staff attitude to work in the University of Calabar. By mentioning the University of Calabar, you've already established that it is a case study. Another person may say, staff attitude to work, case study, University of Calabar. So whether you mention case study or you don't mention case study, when you are looking at a particular object, you are engaging in a case study. Somebody may decide to say, okay, I want to look at staff attitude to work in universities in Cross River State. That gives you a wider scope, and you can infer your, you can generalize your findings. But when it's University of Calabar, your findings is simply applied on the University of Calabar. Are we together? If your neighbor is sleeping, just touch him or her. You'll be doing him or her a good favor. So the next one you have there is ex post factor design. Ex post factor design. Please take note of these technicalities. This is where a lot of people get it mixed up. Ex post factor design is a kind of research design that looks at a variable that is and how it affects the future variable. The variable that is and how it affects the future variable. That's why you have X post factor. For instance, if you check the effect or influence of gender on academic achievement of students, gender comes at 2 levels, and you cannot manipulate gender. That is an X post factor design. Are we together? Good. And then the next one is the experimental design. Now, experimental design is where you want to manipulate your independent variable to see its effect on your dependent variable. For instance, the topic that we prepared earlier, effects of digital storytelling. The digital storytelling becomes your method of instructional delivery, which you will do at 2 levels. The method will be used as experimental, and then you will have a control group where you teach with the normal lecture method. Are we together? Good. So, the manipulation, like I said earlier, is assigning conditions to your intact classes. Or sorry, not intact classes in this case. Assigning conditions to the levels of your independent variable. For instance, if I come to, let's say this is a class, this is a class, this is a class, and this is a class, and I want to assign them into 2 experimental groups and 2 control groups. So I will get a representative from here, get a representative from here, get a representative from here, and get a representative from here. Then I write yes and no on a piece of paper, on small pieces of paper, fold them and throw. The representative from here will pick, here will pick, here will pick, here will pick. And by so doing, I have randomly assigned them. The people that pick yes become my experimental group. The people that pick no become my control group. That assignment is called manipulation. Do you understand? Good. But that only happens with the primary independent variable, not with the secondary. When you're looking at something like gender, you cannot manipulate. It's constant. Either you are male or you are female. Good. So where this happens, you have 2 types of experimental design. You have the quasi, and it's not quasi. I keep hearing quasi-experimental design. It's quasi. Then you have the pure experiment. What we do in education is quasi. The reason is that we work with intact classes, already existing conditions. We don't alter. But in a pure experiment, you randomize your assignment. For instance, you have 20 blind students. Then you write yes and no, yes and no. The 10 that pick yes and no into 20. 10 yes and 10 no's. So the people that pick 20 would be assigned to your experimental group. Those that pick no will be assigned to your control group. That is pure randomization. And with that randomization, you are involved with what is called pure experiment. That randomization and use of intact classes is what makes for quasi and pure experiment. Is it clear? The response is low. Is it clear? No. Please, when I say something or maybe I explain something and I ask if it's clear and you don't understand, make sure your no is louder than the yes so that I get the no and I take it again. Experimental design is experimental design across board. But in education, let's say I want to use SS2 students for my experiment with digital storytelling. And SS2 student or SS2 has intact classes of 40 in SS2A, 40 in SS2B, 40 in SS2C, 40 in SS2D. So I can decide to pick 2 intact classes and use. I cannot tell the principal of the school, I want to alter the arrangement and then put all the students together to enable me assign them randomly. Is it clear? But in pure experiment, you assign randomly. That is why in pure experiment, you can do without pretest. You can do post-test only. But when you do quasi, there is no equivalence of the group. You cannot ascertain the equivalence of the group. So you do pretest. The pretest enables you to ascertain the equivalence of the group when you apply a robust statistical tool like ANCOVA. ANCOVA adjusts the pretest score against the post-test scores and will give you the adjusted mean, which is the balance. Are we together? Is it clear now? So when you do pure experiment, you randomize totally. You don't use intact classes. For instance, I want to use this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for a pure experiment. I can close my eyes and say, you here, you here, you here, you here. And as I point, they form 2 groups. That forming of 2 groups will give me a condition that could be called pure experiment. Because I did not use them as they exist. I mixed them up and randomized. Is it clear? Good. Then you have what is called research and development. For short, R&D design. R&D design is a kind of research design that you engage in when you want to create something tangible to solve a problem. Or you want to design a software, maybe learning management system for University of Calabar. So what R&D design says is that by the time you finish with your study, beyond writing research report, you will present something either in hard form or soft form as what you have produced. Are we together? So sometimes you see somebody, for instance, you see a group of students, all of them do not have mobile devices to access digital learning materials. So you sit down and you plan on creating something that can allow all of them access. So that thing, whether it is hardware or software, the process of creating, testing, and validating it to be sure it is able to do what it is meant to do is called R&D. And it has its specialized processes, unlike other designs. It is the most difficult design available. Remember, no design is considered almighty. Every design is useful to the extent that it is necessary for your study. It's like somebody taking Panadol because of headache. Then you have swollen leg. You now go and take Panadol. It will not solve the problem. So if I want to carry out a study that is correlational in nature, and I'll go and say, okay, R&D is robust. So I will use R&D. I am misplaced from the word go. Are we together? So the last one. So is that the last day? Ethnographic design. Ethnographic design is a kind of design that pays attention to studying the culture or cultural pattern of a given place or people. For instance, if we find out that the law students from University of Calabar always make first class at the law school, a researcher will want to find out why that culture. That study is called ethnographic design. Is it clear? You may also want to study real cultures of people. For instance, there is a place in my state that they don't eat snail. So you want to find out why do they not eat snail? I'm planning to visit them one of these days. Let me go and start business. I'll just pack snails and come back. So you want to find out why are they not eating the snail? There's a place in Imo State where even if a snake is entering your house, you don't shout. You can even sing folk song to welcome the snake. Make it triumph for my house. Are we together? Okay, sir. Next slide. So when you are done with the research design, let's even say how you put your research design. Because some people will go defining research design is according to, there's no need. The research design adopted for this study is the descriptive survey. And descriptive survey is so and so. It is used for this and that. And by the nature of this study, descriptive survey is most suitable for this investigation. Close it. Then you go to your area of study. Area of study is where you will carry out the research. And you want to show the reader that the problem really exists in that area. So first of all, you establish that the study will be carried out in the University of Calabar. The University of Calabar is in Cross River State. Cross River State is... Do you even need to go to Cross River State? No, except you're using universities in Cross River State. You're using University of Calabar, is in Calabar municipality. So you stay with municipality. Say what is available in municipality. The people there, their lifestyle, maybe the attractions there. But those things are not where your study is focused. Remember, you must mention the longitudinal and latitudinal placement of your study area. And then, when you are finished listing the features available in the area, come to what borders on your study. If your study borders on the universities within the area, this area has so number of primary schools, so number of secondary schools, so number of tertiary institutions, of which 3 of them are universities. Now, before you close, give a justification for studying within that area. Prove that that problem actually exists in that area. And when you are finished, close it. Go to the next one. The population of the study. The population of the study would be the totality of the objects upon which the findings of the study would be generalized. The totality of the objects upon which the findings of the study would be generalized. For instance, if I am looking at the lecturers in the University of Calabar, the population would be all the 1,000 so and so number. Don't say all the lecturers. All the so and so number. And you get your figures from a reliable source. Possibly senior establishment, director of academic planning. They will give you accurate information. And avoid the problem of going to cook data that you have not gone to check. I see that a lot during panel presentations. A student will tell you, oh, I went to so place to get the information, and sometimes you don't want to drag it, not because you don't know, but after this workshop, we will really be dragging it. Because we want the best to come out of our faculty, and God will help us. So, where you have established that the university has so number of lecturers, and that number would be your population. Remember, it is not in every case that your sample must come from your population. It is not in every case. The sample refers to the people from which you collect data. The population refers to the object upon which the findings of the study will be generalized. For instance, you want to study the way lecturers behave in my department, and you give me questionnaire to respond to, you are in trouble already. You have the best lecturers in my department. So it would be giving you a biased response, and it would affect the outcome of the study. But if you want to really do a proper study, you go to the non-teaching staff and the student, primarily the student. They become your sample. Is clear? So the next one is the sampling techniques. And we have the probability sampling techniques and the non-probability sampling techniques. The probability sampling techniques refer to those set of sampling techniques that allow every participant, every object in the population, equal opportunity of being selected in the sample. The non-probability would be a kind of sampling techniques where the researcher uses his or her judgment to decide how to pick the sample. Everybody will not have equal opportunities. Are we together? So let's look at them. The first one in the probability sampling would be simple random sampling. There are many ways to simple random sampling. You have balloting without replacement. You have the hat trick. You have the yes and no options where maybe you want to, like I said, 10 of them. I need 5 to use for a particular study. So I write yes and no. 5 yes and 5 no. On small pieces of paper, fold them and throw. They wouldn't know which one is yes and which one is no. So all of them would have equal opportunity of being picked. So the one that picks yes becomes a subject of the study. The one that picks no will not be used for the study. And the next one is the systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is also a type of probability sampling. In systematic sampling, let's say, for instance, you have 40 students. And out of the 40 students, you want to use 8 for your study. So you count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you say, if you were number 2, come out. So everyone that answered 2 will come out. And they become subject of your study. Is it clear? Then the next one is the stratified random sampling. Now, when you're talking about stratified, we are talking about a situation where people are grouped already, like male and female. They could be considered stratas or stratum. So you can now say, okay, this stratum would be so number. This stratum would be so number. Is it clear? Now, the next one would be the cluster. Cluster is where you have like University of Calabar and University of Cross River State. You treat University of Calabar as a cluster. You treat University of Cross River State as another cluster. So from those clusters, you could apply simple random sampling to pick your sample. Are we together? Good. So the next one is the multi-stage sampling. Now, sometimes you read a work and a student says, I use multi-stage sampling technique. And the next question will be, how did you use it? Multi-stage sampling simply refers to using more than one kind of sampling technique. So if I use multi-stage, I could decide to do First type, which is the stratified random sampling. When I do the stratified, I group them this way, I group them this way, and I now apply the systematic. Remember, in stratified, I'll have male, female. Then I apply systematic to say every 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, every 3 come out. I do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, every 1 come out. Is it clear? So you are using more than one level to get your actual sample size. And sometimes it gets into 3, sometimes into 4, depending on how large and spread your population is. So the next one would be the non-probability sampling techniques. It's not getting very clear now. So please adjust the lens of the... So we have the convenience sampling technique there. Remember, the non-probability is where the researcher decides how he wants to collect the sample and what the sampling technique would be based on, where every object in the population will not stand a chance. So the convenience is also known as accidental sampling technique. For instance, you want to carry out a study using lecturers in in Unical. And there's no way you can gather all the lecturers in one place, even if you are Asor chairman. So how do you go about it? You determine your sample size and then adopt the convenience sampling technique. The convenience sampling technique will be, okay, let's say you adopt purposive to say the lecturers that will fill this will be at least from senior lecturers to professors. So whoever you meet as a senior lecturer that is available and willing will respond to your instrument until you meet the sample size. Is it clear? Okay. So the next one would be the purposive. Of course, I've mentioned the purposive. Another word for purposive would be criterion sampling. You set criteria that school must meet. Let's say I'm doing a study and I'm using all the universities in Cross River State. So I now say the university must have at least 20,000 student population. By that, I have dropped the university at Akampa because they don't have up to that population. Unical should have. Crutech may have. If they don't have, they are dropped too. Is it clear? Good. Now, the next one is the snowball sample design. You know what snowball is? Just like the snowball rolls. Let's say, for instance, you want to do a study and you need to find out why Yahoo boys go into Yahoo business. It will be impossible for you to reach all the Yahoo boys, but the Yahoo boys know themselves. They even have a WhatsApp platform. So what you do is you start with the one you know, and you tell the one you know to recommend the one you don't know. Is it clear? That's how snowball sampling technique works. Or you come into my department and you want to get data from lecturers and you meet me and then I decide to do it. As I finish doing it, you ask me to introduce you to another lecturer. I will now look around for a lecturer I can introduce you to because it's not everybody. There's one retired military man we have. We don't introduce him like that. Okay. Sorry, sir. Dr. Imoke, you are here. I salute you, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you are here. So, the next one would be the voluntary response. Voluntary response kind of sampling technique is the one that, for instance, you just do an online survey and you throw it out there. Anybody that likes can respond. YouTube does it, Facebook does it, some researchers still do it. If you like, you respond. If you don't like, you scroll past. But when they get to the number they want, they will close it. Is it clear? Then the sample. The sample is simply that number that you want to use for your study. as a representative of the population. Remember, the population may be too large. And we didn't talk about the census. The census is a situation where you want to study, like I talked about lecturers in educational technology, and they are few, and you can reach all of them. So your population is 15, you use 15. Are we together? Okay, so your sample now would be that unit that is representative of your population. Sometimes the population would be too large, like I said. So you need to use a representation to collect data or carry out your experiment where you will take the findings and generalize on the population. So how do you reach that sample number? Sometimes you judge in percentage, but sometimes it's safe to use Taroyamen formula. So when you pick that number, you need an authority to back up. Let's say your population is 3,000 lecturers, and you want to use 300. You go look for an authority that says that in a study like this, maybe a correlational design, when you have a population of about 3,000, 300 would suffice as sample size. When you quote an authority, anybody that has a problem with what you are doing should visit that authority. You've exempted yourself from the wahala in case there is. Are we together? Good. Next slide, sir. So, instrumentation. I will have to get a little faster so that we finish this session, take a break, and then get back to the AI matter. Yes. So let's look at instrumentation. I said there are basically two types of instrument, which will be either qualitative or two broad classification, qualitative or quantitative. The qualitative is so called because it works with words of mouth and review of documents. In most cases, qualitative instruments don't call for analytical review. They don't. You don't use instrument for data analysis to analyze qualitative instrument. And then you don't also do reliability check on qualitative instrument. Instead, what you do is dependability check on qualitative instrument. And then the qualitative instrument would include things like interview guides, focus group discussions, observation logs, document analysis. While the quantitative would include questionnaire, rating scales. Time will not allow me, but a lot of people mix up these two things. You see somebody use rating scale, and the person says it's questionnaire, where you have a statement that allows the respondent to say, agree, disagree, strongly disagree, and what have you. What you're using is rating scale, if it's a statement, a declarative statement. But questionnaire always ends in question form, and then, or is always rendered in question form, and then gives the respondent the option to say, I don't have knowledge about this thing, so I won't answer this one. Is it clear? So you also have checklists, structured observations, experiments, tests, and assessment. And of course, research instrument could be designed by the researcher. It could be adapted. To adapt a research instrument would be that she did a work, I am doing a similar work, and I like the instrument she used. But there are things I need to edit on that instrument to make the instrument suitable for what I want to do. So I pick the instrument, I carry out the edit to make it suitable, and then I do the validation and reliability check on that instrument. But when it has to do with adoption, I just pick the instrument like she used, and I don't do anything to it. I use it like that. And in that case, I do not need to validate again. I do not need to do reliability check again. Then validation of the instrument. Validation simply wants to find out if the instrument is able to perform the task that it is supposed to do. So how do you do this? You give the instrument to experts within that field. Those experts are called validates. And in reporting your validation, you say, so kind of validation or validity was done. Was it face validity, content validity, or construct validity? Where you have something like face validity, it takes the instrument on face value. Is it able to do what it's supposed to do on face value? But when you're looking at content validity, let's say you teach 3 topics in mathematics. You want to be sure that the instrument, the test instrument, covers the 3 topics evenly. That's what content means. And then you have the construct. Let's say you are measuring motivation. It's a construct. So you want to be sure that the items you have actually measure that motivation, which is a construct. So those are the 3. So you specify the kind of validity done, the number of experts that looked into the work, and what they actually did. Once you finish with that, you're done with validity. Then reliability is where you take your instrument and administer to maybe 30 to 50 respondents who are within your population, but not part of the sample of the study. Why do you have to use people from your population? Because the outcome of the study, the findings, will still be generalized on the population. Is it clear? Good. Please, next slide. Then procedure for data collection. How do you secure the permission? How do you secure letter from your head of department to the principals of the schools to secure consent to use the students and all of that? Who assisted you? Your research assistant, how many? How did you engage them? Was it on voluntary basis or you paid them? How did you train them? You also show. And then how did you go about the data collection? And lastly, how long did the data collection take? Is it clear? Okay, then the next one is procedure for data preparation. How do you intend to score and code your data? Of course, we have about 4 levels of scoring where you have the nominal, the ordinal, the interval, and the ratio. And in education, we use the first 3. The last, the ratio scale, belongs to those in the sciences because it is the most refined. The nominal is where you have 1 and 2, just as description, just like you have A and B. It's not like 2 is bigger than 1. Is it clear? The ordinal is where you have like positions, first position to 10th position. And it's not because the person that has the first position has a score that is double the one that has 3rd position. But when you have to give scores, like you mark a test over 50, and then you have somebody score 50, another person scores 48, another person scores like that down to the last number. That is interval scale. Are we together? And interval scale cannot be absolute 0. Where it is 0, it is said that the instrument must have been faulty. For instance, if I come and ask her questions on government, let's say she's a government student, and I ask her questions in a test, she could score 0 because the items in the questions, the items in the test did not ask questions from what she read. So sometimes the student that scores 50 may not be the most intelligent. But when it comes to the sciences, they are accurate. If the science or those in the sciences say that the degree of HIV in you is 0, then it's 0. If they say it's 20, then it's 20. So they test their hypothesis differently, but we test ours at 0.05 level of significance. Very poor and weak. Okay, so you have the next one, procedure for data analysis. You just say how you will analyze your data. Remember, some people don't see the importance of answering research questions. And I ask, why did you ask research questions? you must of necessity answer your research questions using descriptive statistics before you go into your hypothesis testing using inferential statistics. And of course, you should know by now that inferential statistics is classified into the parametric and the non-parametric statistics. The parametric must meet certain conditions. Your data set must meet certain conditions before you can use them. And where you don't have such conditions met, you use the non-parametric equivalence and have a safe landing. Is it clear? Okay, so the next one would be ethical considerations. The do's and don'ts. How did you follow through? Did you secure consent before collecting data? The title that you're using, did you steal it from somebody, or you brainstormed and intelligently come by it? And a number of other things. The use of AI will soon be visiting it. If you use AI to do a work, of course, definitely, okay, we would even talk about the abuse of AI. If you use AI ethically, you should also state under ethical considerations that I use AI. This is the AI tool I use, and this is what I used it for. It is an acceptable practice the world over. Is it clear? Yes, sir. Next slide. So, chapter 4, general description of the variables. Of course, you show your objective by objective, or sometimes research question by research question. Show which one is the independent variables, show which one is the dependent variables, and then show what instrument you use to test for the hypothesis, the instrument you use for testing. And then presentation of result. This is where you use your research question first, and then your hypothesis later. You show the research question, you show the table, and then you explain the table meaningfully. Avoid verbosity. Avoid unnecessary lengthy writing. Just explain the table, show what the mean is, the standard deviation is, the dispersion is, and all of that. And show what it implies in terms of answering your research questions or testing your hypothesis. Show if the hypothesis is rejected or considered valid. Then discussion of findings. After you have done all your analysis and you've explained your tables, the next section that has to do with discussion of findings is where you pick each finding and you show the finding, show previous works that supported the findings, and maybe some that disagreed with the findings, and give a justification for your result. That's discussion of findings. And you do that for each finding, which, like the case we talked about, it will be 12 of them. Are we together?
So
Okay,
permit me once again.
Then summary of the study. Summary of the study is where you tell the story from the title to the findings, sequentially, logically, and systematically. You tell the story from the beginning to the findings. Then the implication of the findings. Implication is not recommendation. Implication is this. If the finding shows that digital storytelling is able to make students achieve better in citizenship education, the implication, therefore, is that we should use digital storytelling to teach students. Are we together? The implication, sorry, you say it again, 500. If the finding shows that the digital storytelling is able to boost the academic achievement, the implication would be that the lecturers of citizenship education should use digital storytelling to teach the student. And it goes on like that. For each finding, you give the implication. And then when you finish, you give your conclusion. Your conclusion is not a long thing. It's just an essay presentation of the findings. Based on the findings of these studies, the researcher or the study concludes that, number one, digital storytelling is able to boost the academic achievement of students. Number two, digital storytelling is able to boost the academic interest of the student. Number three, digital storytelling is able to boost the academic self-efficacy of the student. Number four, digital storytelling is able to boost the retention of the student. You continue like that, not like you are listing them. You write in essay format, and then you present all your conclusions. That's what you conclude based on each finding. Is it clear? Then the next one is recommendation. Recommendation is where you tie what you want done to who should do it. So you can recommend something like the government and the school management should arrange for regular workshops where the lecturers would be taught how to effectively design instructions using digital storytelling. And you go on and on, maybe 4 or 5, and you are okay. Then the next one would be suggestions for further studies. Based on the limitations you encountered, based on what you thought you should have done which you could not do, based on what you think should be considered by another researcher in terms of expanding the scope of the study or taking the study to another place, you recommend further studies should look into using digital stories for other courses like history and philosophy of science, which is also a GSS course. Are we together? And maybe other such courses. And then when you are done with that, you go to your references. This is where you have to pay attention to adhering strictly to what is required as per the referencing style of your institution or department. So in my department and faculty, we use the APA 7th edition referencing style. And it shows you how to reference journal articles, book chapters, textbooks, proceedings, and all of that. And you must adhere strictly to such provisions. And then after that, you have appendices. Under appendices, it must first be your instrument for data collection. And then you could have the analytical output. And then maybe the validates report. When you gave your instrument to validate, what did they say about each, and what did they drop, what did they ask you to add? You can scan the report and attach. If you see my PhD work, you see all the validates report. So, and any other thing that will pertain to the work, maybe if you secured informed consent, and there's a document to that effect, you scan it and attach. Everything that made the work possible, you attach under appendix. And you list your appendix as appendix A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on. Are we together? With this few points of mine, I think I have tried. So we will see again.
I think you deserve a better round of applause. Thank you for a well-presented lecture. Please, let's be informed that we'll go for a break for 10 minutes. Then thereafter, we'll come back and go to the last session. And I know all of us are well prepared because I can see your eye. You are just after the AI. I go use this AI. I go use it. Some of us, it's as if, I know chapter 1, I know chapter 2. I want to see how I can use AI to manipulate, to navigate through. I believe that is why we are here. Abi? So I know. Some of us are not writing. We are just waiting to see how I can use AI.
Depending on what your dependent variable is, you cannot use a test item, like achievement test, to get data that border on interest and self-efficacy. Is it clear? So there, depending on what you feel, you could use questionnaire or rating scale. I hope by now you know the difference between the two. Okay, the second question is case study topic acceptable at PhD level? There's no design that is considered inferior at any level, depending on what you want to study. If you want to do a case study and it's PhD, the first thing you want to ask is the problem I want to solve susceptible to this design? And will this design give me a study that I will be proud of? Like I mentioned earlier, there are some PhD students who have finished, or PhD holders who did researches that they can't even publish in local journals. You don't want to do such. So you should consider the dignity of your degree, and that should affect the kind of problem you solve and how you go about solving it. Then the last one, can a single study employ more than one research design when the nature of the study supports multiple approaches? No. The answer is capital no. However, there's something called mixed method design, which I didn't mention. My apologies. For those who are outside, I don't know how they make up. But the document that will be sent to you will carry quite a number of things that will be helpful. So if you're using a mixed method design, what you're saying is that you're going to engage what is called triangulation, which will enable you to get qualitative and quantitative data. The reason is that qualitative data may have some bias. So you use the responses on qualitative to balance up and give your findings reasonable validation. I did a study some time ago. I think I may be sending it to publish by next week, about the availability and utilization, attitude of school management and lecturers towards digitalized instructional delivery in universities in South Nigeria. It's a robust work. So to make it more robust, I did not rely on quantitative data alone. I engaged qualitative instruments, which enabled the outcome to be very formidable. When you see the rigors, you will know that it's what it solved. So you could decide to use the mixed method, but you cannot say, and remember the mixed method allows you only to get qualitative and quantitative instruments using such tools. But you will not and cannot say that you use more than one design for one study. It is not done, it is not possible, it is not practicable. Since my breakfast. This person is asking, to know where sensors can be placed, whether it's under probability or non-probability sampling techniques. First of all, sensors is not a sampling technique. So if it is not a sampling technique, it means you cannot place it under probability or non-probability. Census simply means that my population is small enough to use as sample. Therefore, I will not apply any sampling technique. So I use the population as sample. Okay. Then his second question is that I should elucidate further on the difference between parametric and non-parametric statistics. Now, parametric statistics are so called because they require your data to meet certain criteria. I think about 4 of them. For instance, there should be normality, and then there should be randomization. The 2 others, you can just use your Gemini or ChatGPT to just type in conditions that govern parametric statistics. They will give you about 4 of them. So that's to say, before you use the parametric statistical tools to run your analysis, your data set must have these characteristics. And if they don't have, you should not use parametric statistics. You should use the non-parametric equivalent. For instance, you cannot use Pearson where your data don't fulfill the conditions. Pearson product noise correlation is a parametric statistics. ANOVA is parametric. ANCOVA is parametric. But for every parametric statistics, there is a non-parametric equivalent. So you give yourself a safe landing by avoiding those issues where your data sets don't meet those conditions. Are we together? Okay.
When you do literature review, like the topic we used, the gap would be that there has been no research that made use of digital storytelling to test its effect on achievement, interest, self-efficacy, and retention of undergraduate citizenship education students. So that is the gap that you want to fill. Are we together? Yes, so it varies across different topics. But when you research your literature, you are able to find what is not existing, which your research brings to the table. That becomes the unique gap that your research will fill. Thank you. Somebody is asking, can one use simple random sampling technique alongside stratified random sampling technique? Yes. There's no thumb rule. What you use would be to the extent of it allowing you pick your sample. So if, in most cases, you will not apply simple random first, you will use stratified. And there's what is called proportional stratified. The proportional stratified works this way. For instance, you are doing a study in my faculty, and my faculty has 4 departments, and you will be using lecturers from the 4 departments, and then you use the lecturers as, okay, let's say you're using teaching and non-teaching, and you use the teaching as a strata, the non-teaching, stratum. So now with these 2, you check the percentage of lecturers. If my department, educational technology, has, let's say, 20 lecturers, and adult and continuing education has 40. In proportional stratified, you will use the equivalent percentage. If you're using, let's say, 4 from adult and continuing education that has 40 lecturers, you will use 2 from educational technology that has 20 lecturers. That's to say, the stratified sampling is picking the sample size based on the proportion of the lecturers that each department has. And of course, it will also happen within the non-teaching. Is it clear? Okay, so the Last question here, please. Let me have a little time to rest after this question so that my brain will not burst. The last question is, what is the difference between questionnaire and rating scale? Now, questionnaire always have items that are in question form. Rating scale always would have items that are in declarative form. Like, I go to work 3 times in a week. Agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Do you go to work 3 times in a week? Yes. No. I have no idea. I don't have a job. This is questionnaire. This is rating scale. Is it clear? God be with you till we meet again. Okay. I think at this point it's safe to stand on existing protocols. Or I would just say all protocols duly and unreservedly observed. We go straight to the third session. And this is where the AI question comes. But, there's an aspect of academic writing that borders on writing for journal publication. If you're writing a research report to earn a degree, the procedure would be different from writing for journal publication. So in journal publication writing, you extract an article and follow a certain guideline to write. So let's have the first slide. So normally, in many journals, you start with the introduction. And the introduction captures the background and the problem. And it ends with the purpose of the study and the research hypothesis. So, at the end of your introduction, which should be about a page and a half or 2, you say, therefore, the study seeks to explore the effects of digital storytelling on the academic achievement of undergraduate citizenship education students in University of Calabar. Remember, you don't have to bring in all your dependent variables into one paper. It will be a wasted effort. After my master's program, I didn't have so much knowledge about writing for publication. So I took all the variables of the study and I did one publication. Sometimes people say experience is the best teacher. Experience is never the best teacher. It is better to learn from people's experiences than experience it yourself. So, you could do an article that checks the effect of digital storytelling on academic achievement. Do another one that, effect of digital storytelling and academic intelligence on academic achievement. Remember that your secondary independent variable must not always be on your title, so as not to make your title unnecessarily wordy. So you could bring that into your background. Then the next paper would be effect of digital storytelling on academic interest, effect of digital storytelling on academic self-efficacy, effects of digital storytelling on retention. With that work, you can make 4 publishable papers. And each of them will have 3 hypotheses. So 3 times 4 will give you 12. Sometimes you may even look at publishing your literature review if it is that sophisticated.
Are we together? So you finish with that, you go into literature review. Literature review must not be more than 2 paragraphs if it exceeds 1. But when I'm doing a work for publication, I do only 1 paragraph of literature review per what I'm reviewing. So within that, I will explain the concept, define it, justify it, and show works on it within 1 paragraph. I'll show you how AI helps to do that, and ethically so. Then you go to your methodology, where you talk about your design, your population, of course, area of study, population, sample or sampling technique, and then sample, and then instrument for data collection. You talk about the validation of the instrument, the reliability of the instrument, and data collection process, data preparation process, how you code it and analyze the data, the instrument for data analysis, and you talk about the instrument of data analysis and leave it there. Then you go to your result. Result is where you show hypothesis by hypothesis. The first hypothesis, you show a table under it, you explain the table, you stop there. Pick the second hypothesis, show a table that contains the data, and then explain the content of the table, stop there. Do the same to the third hypothesis, and then you proceed to discussion. Under discussion, each finding, you bring it up, show studies that support the findings, and possibly studies that did not support the findings, and give a justification for your findings being where it is. For instance, if I do that digital storytelling, and there are studies that say digital storytelling would be effective at secondary school, and some say it would not be effective at secondary school, well, the conditions would be different from the university. So my study shows that it is effective. And I give an explanation that the students in the university first year would have left the A level to 100 level, and they have some level of experience in handling this kind of information. So you now finish with that, you go to conclusion. I've already mentioned before how conclusion is written. Based on the findings of these works, it is concluded that digital storytelling is able to boost academic achievement of students. Academic intelligence does not have any influence on the outcome, on the academic achievement of students when taught with digital storytelling. And lastly, there is no interaction effect between digital storytelling and academic intelligence on the academic achievement of students. End it there. That's your conclusion. Don't go to tell stories that they have not asked you. Some journals will not even reply. Some will reply and give you stress. And some, if it is a free journal, they can send the work back like 10 times. You did not put a comma here. Go and put comma and show that you put comma and send back. You go and put comma. They now say the comma you put looks like apostrophe. Go and remove it, put it well, and send back. Something they can just sit down and fix and publish. So you try to do your best when you have to. Then the recommendations. Based on the findings of the studies, the researcher recommends those. You put 1, 2, 3, and you leave it there. And it must agree with your findings. And then lastly, your references. Following APA 7th edition referencing style. Some journals ask for appendices. Yes, but some don't. In fact, most don't. They will just tell you that if need be, they will request for it. Are we together? So that is it for writing a seminar paper. And this pattern is obtainable in most places. It's just that for some journals, they don't ask for literature review, but they follow the same sequence. Are we together? So if whichever journal you are writing to, you first of all find out their scope, their style of writing, and possibly Download a work, their recent publication, and study to make sure that what you are sending to them aligns. Otherwise, you'll be taking some unnecessary stress. Next slide, sir. So at this point, we can say artificial intelligence. Aye. Okay. So, like I said, artificial intelligence has come to stay. And artificial intelligence is a blessing. It's not a curse. But how you use it will determine if it's actually a blessing or a curse. Now, artificial intelligence is not that tool that you use for whatever you do. It is the idea behind the programming of that tool. Artificial intelligence is when machines are programmed to mimic human intelligence. When software applications are programmed to mimic human intelligence in answering questions, brainstorming on issues, deep thinking, analytical reasoning, and all of that. So where you have that, you have what is called artificial intelligence. And it cuts across every aspect of human life. There's artificial intelligence in the engineering. There's artificial intelligence in law practice. In fact, sometimes I come across situations that I don't call my lawyer. I just sit down and interact with my AI tool and get concrete legal advice. And then sometimes I call my lawyer to verify, and it's true. Are we together? So there's also artificial intelligence in farming, in aerospace or aero engineering, in the medical line. And in education, we don't carry last. So what makes for a safe use
So permit me
of
once again.
artificial intelligence tools would be you ethically applying the tool and knowing which tool to use for what. If I do a random sample here or random sampling to ask a question here, most of you are familiar with ChatGPT. She? God punish devil. And then those who are not familiar with ChatGPT will be using Google Gemini. Yeah, she? Good. And those are general AI tools. There are specialized AI tools for different academic tasks. I should have come with my system for us to explore some things. But the time is not, or I knew that the time will not allow me, because you shouldn't carry more than what your brain can carry. In as much as we have breached the 2 days into 1 day, we shouldn't overload you. But I am thinking, with individual consent, a Telegram group could be created and given a name. And I could be added to the group to answer any research question or any question about research that comes up from any member of the group. So if you ask a question that needs my attention, you will just say at. You mention my name, and it will come up. Or sorry, I will be notified. Then I will answer the question. And then some things would also be made available to you by way of write-up so that it will assist you. The idea is to make you better researchers than even myself and able to influence others that I may never reach and the dean may never reach. So just pay attention. So the purpose of AI in education would be to discover and review literature. Ethical discovery and review of literature. Number 2, reading and synthesis. You can use some AI tools to read voluminous research works, and it will synthesize them and group the information and summarize it to what you should use or what will make meaning to you. So that you don't go to read maybe 50 works by sitting and flipping and all of that. Are we together? And then AI tools could also be used for writing and paraphrasing. Remember, that is not text generation or ghost writing. I did not say ghost writing and paraphrasing. For instance, you have done an elaborate conceptual and empirical review on effect of digital storytelling on academic achievement, and you want to abridge the 5 pages to 1 page. There is an AI tool that helps you to do that. But remember, the work was written by you. You are not asking AI to go and look for 1-page write-up for you. And if you ask, it will. But God be with you after it does. So another thing it does is citation and reference management. These are 4 basic areas that AI is useful to a researcher. It gives you the right citation, and it helps to give you the references based on specified referencing style. For instance, if you need Chicago referencing style, once you have a citation, it will give you the reference of that work based on Chicago referencing style. Or if you need APA 5th edition, it will give you. If you need 6th or 7th edition, it will give you. Are we together? So now let's look at the specific AI tools for each of these four tasks. Remember, I do not encourage prostitution around tools. You just jump on this one, jump on this one, jump on this one, and you master none. In this category, one of these tools, when effectively and properly used, can help you to do what all of them would do. There are people that are here, they have ChatGPT, they have Gemini, you ask what for? And they've not mastered any. So consistent use of a particular tool makes the tool familiar with you, and you are familiar with the tool. For instance, thank you, sir. Let me finish. For instance, my Gemini knows that I am a researcher and a filmmaker. So if I ask a question, the Gemini reasons from that bias. So you see an output like, as a film director and a researcher, this is this, that is that. Are we together? But when you just jump around, you are neither here nor there. So the AI tools in this category, that's the review and discovery and review of literature, the AI tool in this category helps a researcher find relevant papers, map out research gaps, and synthesize existing evidence. Example of such tools is the Elicit. And Elicit has the ability to find and compare research papers. So if I have 10 works and I give the 10 of them to Elicit, Elicit can show where they agree and disagree and show the gap that I come in. It clear you? Now, the next one is the consensus tool, which is for evidence-backed search. When you want to do a search where you need more details than what is available, you want to go more in-depth, you go for this consensus. It is able to give you information as to why this data is like this and why the other one is like that. So you don't just stay with the data. You have a justification for why the data is like that. Is it clear? Sometimes the instrument for data analysis are wrong choices. So this will help you to tell you that this person did pre-test, post-test, and then use ANCOVA for data analysis, which is wrong. You should, use ANOVA for data analysis, which is wrong. First and foremost, because the data set did not meet the requirement for parametric statistics. And then furthermore, the person should have used ANCOVA if at all the data set met those requirements. So instead, what the person should have used is these statistics. So if you're doing a similar study, make use of these statistics. Is it clear? So the next one is the connected papers for visualizing research fields, for staying updated with literature. Let's say you start a study today on digital storytelling, and you are completing that study in December. You have already finished your literature review now. As long as you're using that research rabbit, the works that get published later on that field or in that field, you will be notified. Is it clear? Next slide. Then for reading and synthesis, I said these tools assist in digesting complex academic texts and understanding citations context. Example, Cite AI for evaluating citation reliability. Now this is where these specialized AI tools are different from the general AI tools. If you use ChatGPT, ChatGPT will give you a work and give you citations that don't exist, and give you references that don't exist anywhere. But when you put the work here on Cite AI, it will be able to show you that this thing does not exist. And if it exists, it may be or may not be relevant to what you are doing. So the other one is Scholarly for automated summarization. You have 5 pages, you need 2 paragraphs. This uncle will help you. Then the last one is, in this category, is the cloud research mode. Now, cloud has different modes. So if you're using cloud, you need to use the research mode. And that mode would be able to give you deep contextual analysis. Deep contextual analysis. If this work, the context was gender bias, it will give you details about it. If it was maybe discipline bias, let's say some are in the sciences and some are in the non-sciences, like STEM and non-STEM, it will give you that context. And it will also give you what further context you can look into. Next slide, sir. Then for writing and academic paraphrasing and phrasing, unlike general AI, these tools are trained specifically for academic corpora. They are trained specifically for academic corpora. Now, that means journal articles and theses. So those ones don't go outside of research journal articles and published theses. So if you want works on digital storytelling and you want only research findings and journal articles, that's based on journal articles and theses, you go for these tools. And the first one is the Paper Pal for end-to-end writing assistant. Remember, it's not end-to-end text generation. AI is meant to assist you. It's not meant to write for you. when AI writes for you, AI will mislead you, and you will realize when it's too late. The next one is the rightful for academic English polishing. Some of us, we have the ideas, but we lack the way to communicate it in an intelligent manner. So you can just copy your English as una be, una take there, una no take there. You paste it there. It will give you the polished version with clean scholarly English, and it is still your work. The next one is the testify, which is for structural and logical feedback. I talked about how to construct your background. Let's say you've written your background and you are not sure how logical and intelligent it is. You can just copy it. Remember, whenever you copy, leave the original version somewhere. Don't just copy, because you may need it. So you copy it and paste here. It will run it and structure it intelligently and logically, so that you have that systematic scholarly flow in your background. And then the next one is the TRINGS. The TRINGS specialize in technical writing. Those of you in fields that require some technicalities and jargons, like engineering, like medicine, like educational technology, where you have some different style of speaking, this kind of AI tool will help you by tailoring your write-up to fit your area. Is it clear? Is it clear? Are we still with AI? Are you understanding AI? Is AI disappointing you? Okay. Okay, the next slide, sir. So for citation and reference management, you have, I said these tools automate the most tedious part of academic formatting. The Zotero with AI plugins. Zotero is a kind of general AI, but when you have a general purpose software, but when you have the AI plugins, it allows you to do the open source reference management. Then the GenText is for word integrated citations. And then the Mendeley is for collaborative research library. All of them help you in citation and reference management. Next slide, sir. So now, whereas we have looked at the tools, what makes for ethical use of AI? And the use of AI with academic integrity. You can use AI without compromising the academic or your academic integrity. First of all, okay, let me give you what is there. Globally, the only permitted AI use in research and academic writing must maintain a human-in-the-loop approach. The human must be the nucleus of the work. AI only assists. The work is yours. It bears your name. It is you that will take the degree. It is you that will take the credit, not AI. So AI should only assist you while you do the work. So this means that the tools must only be used for, 1, grammar and language refinement, brainstorming and ideation. You have an idea, you want to brainstorm and get it look better refined or more robust. And let's say you want to do digital storytelling and you want to know the right dependent variables to use. You can use AI to brainstorm. It will be able to make suggestions, but it will not impose the suggestions on you. It's just a suggestion. It's up to you to use or leave. And then there is literature summarization. I've overflogged that. Identifying themes in large qualitative data sets. Remember, in qualitative research, like historical design, you can just get like 20 persons and get information from them. When you put that information together, AI can help you to show you the themes the line that run through all the responses you've got. And that will help you to reach your findings and conclusions. And then the search optimization. When you are publishing a work or writing an abstract, there's something called keywords. The keywords, for those of us that do things with YouTube, meanwhile, like I said, I do movies, and if you have the time, you want to relax and watch movies, you can visit my channel, Onyx Nolly TV, on YouTube. You can subscribe, you can watch the movie, stay entertained. Don't do only academic work. When you work, relax. You did not kill research. Research was here before you came. You will go, research will still be here. So research and rest and relax. So when you are posting something on YouTube, there are some keywords that you need to use to make it possible for people to discover what you've posted. Sometimes I use AI tools to identify those keywords, depending on the movie I'm posting, the story title, and what the story is about. Are we together? So AI tools can help you to get such keywords to optimize your publication. Are we together? And then lastly, for citation and references formatting. Let's say you have a work that is written in, you use APA referencing style for citation and references. And then you come by a journal that is free. And they are asking for Chicago referencing style. You can use AI to convert the APA 7th edition referencing style and format to Chicago. But remember the AI tool that we have talked about. Okay, so that is it for ethical use of AI in research and academic writing. Next slide, sir. So we have also the unethical use, where you misplace academic integrity. You just want to pack anything, show anything to the panel. You are desperate. You just carry title, give AI, generate for you, copy and paste, bring it to the panel, argue with the panel, insult anybody you can insult in the panel, then tell anybody that they don't like you. As if people come to the panel to like anybody. For people like me, I don't give a damn about those things. When I'm in a panel, God sees my heart. I look at a work on its merit. Whether you are my father, you are my mother, you are my uncle, you are whoever, I don't even see you. I see the work. And the interest I have is to make sure the work is good. So however you take it is purely not up to me. It's your business. Okay, so unethical AI use without academic integrity. And I said globally also, the following constitute a gross abuse of AI in research and academic writing. First and foremost, AI-generated content, very popular amongst postgraduate students. Very popular. Very, 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 very popular. Ghostwriting. They just pick a title, put on ChatGPT, generate things. ChatGPT will give you fake citations, fake references. You copy them and just paste. And then you get ready to get what shouldn't be given. It's not a good thing. It's never a good thing. And one thing with those people is that they can argue. Once you tell them that this is AI generated, Mabasi, it's not AI. They can argue. But you're using your eyes. For me, I don't even need turn it in to tell me that this work is AI. Once I read your first two sentences, I know when it's AI generated. And then I can also look at your citation and reference, and I will also tell you it's AI. And abusively done. Okay, so the next one is generating fabricated research data. You've not gone to field to get data. Let me even announce to you. the VC of this university. In fact, God answered my prayers. Because I have always prayed for a man or a vice chancellor that will have academic discipline and integrity, that will frown at sharp tones with academic processes. And this man here, go and verify. He has it. So you will not want to cut corners and expect that you will have it. And then the person that is heading PG school, go and verify too. So sit down and do your work. Get the degree and be happy with it. The most stupid thing I have ever heard is when a PG student says, I just want the certificate. I don't want the knowledge. I don't want stress. So why didn't you just go to a printer to print the certificate for you? Why do you come to stress us? We already have too much issues with having this and that I don't want to talk about here. So you shouldn't add to it. Be serious with your studies. Nobody is a dunce, except you make yourself one. Sit down and read. Give yourself target. You can be the best researcher that your institution will talk about. Like, you see that 1 million? If my supervisee does not get that 1 million in the next convocation, it means maybe they've not finished the work. They just spin it somewhere. That is my target. Then we will consider how we will share it. I take 90%, it takes 10%. And I too like money. Okay, so the next place you do not want to use AI for is, ladies and gentlemen, my former sub-dean. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Okon. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you around, sir. I celebrate you. So, the next point you don't want to use AI for is for hallucinating citations. Using non-existing citations and references, we've overflogged that. And it's common with ChatGPT and Gemini. Remember, those are not specialized AI tools. And then the other one is for plagiarism of ideas. You carry somebody's work and you put it on AI. You ask AI to tweak the work and give you another version of it that will look original. It's possible. ChatGPT will do it. And then you bring it to argue with the panel and call people witches and wizards. And then maybe the owner of the work now sees you and says, it's my work. You start fighting and you start quarreling. For people like me, I can decide to keep quiet. When you reach the point, I know that you have, after I have warned you, and you decide to go ahead, I will watch you. When you reach a boundary, I'll make sure you don't cross. Academic stealing is as wicked as normal stealing. And then you hear something like, he has gone far already, allow him to do it. You steal my idea, no consent, and then you go and maybe get someone to write for you, and you bring and present, and they say you have gone far, I should allow you. No, now, it's not done. It's like stealing my car in Calabar and you are heading to Lagos and police arrest you at Uyo. And then they say, since she has successfully stolen and she has gone as far as Uyo, allow her to keep the car or allow him to keep the car. It's not done. So let's be ethical. Let's respect our profession. Let's respect what we do so that people will respect us. See, once you say you are a lecturer or a student in education, people see you as second class. But when I come face to face with them, I make them know that I went to school. That's what you should do. Don't take that second position. Understand research such that when you come in the presence of researchers, you can discuss research as an expert. Are we together? So the next one is failure to disclose AI use. When you use AI ethically, you should be proud to, under ethical consideration, say that I use so-so AI tool to do so-so and so-so task. that is an acceptable practice worldwide. And you should be transparent and sincere. Once you are, there's nothing to fear. I've done an article to a Scopus Index journal, and I proudly stated that I use AI for grammar refinement and restructuring of the work. The work was published. Yes. You can't hold it against me. It's the right thing to do. Are we together? You can use your AI to enhance readability, and it's fine. Just say I use social AI too, and the essence was to enhance the readability of the work submitted, and that is it. So the next slide, and the next slide says, "Thank you for coming." I hope that this time has been worth it. Yes, we thought initially that this workshop would be free, but the cost of setting it up, you can see the packaging, is why we needed to charge the token to enable us handle expenses. And a very big thank you to the Dean who supported the idea and fronted it, and of course my professors and my head of department and lecturers in my department and other sister departments within the faculty. Shout out to committee members. These guys were wonderful. We would have meetings at unusual places, sometimes online meetings. They will always show up, and see how they've been committed to making this happen. The Lord bless you all. And then to other people handling different things, the guys in the media, well done. The guy on sound, well done. The MC, well done. And to every participant, see you some other time. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Please, can we give him... I was thinking we were going to stand up and give him a standing ovation. That is our practice in the university. Thank you, thank you. You can take your seat. I don't know if any of you have any question regarding...
All these tools are available, some on subscription, some are free. But if there's any in particular that you need, you can reach out to me privately, maybe via WhatsApp chat, and I will tell you how to go about getting it. My number, on that flyer, you see a number that ends with 42. I think it's the last number. That's my number, and I have only one line. So you send a WhatsApp message or call, and whatever you need, specify the purpose, and if you can't specify the tool, I will tell you what tool can serve the purpose and how you can get it. If it's something you need to subscribe, you subscribe. Sometimes I pay as much as more than $100 to subscribe and use the tool I want to use. Because somebody is saying, people sit down to spend time and money to develop these things. And why do they develop them? It's to also help their ministry. So they charge some level of subscription. So if you are a serious researcher and you want to do serious research and you need a particular tool, and they need a certain amount, why not? You pay, you use it for your research, and you move on. Sometimes the subscription could be for a year. Whatever you use it for within that year is not their business. Some it could be for a month. Whatever you use it for within the month is not their business. And some it could be based on word count. So when you reach a particular word count, you've exhausted your subscription, you resubscribe. And it's been like that. Thank you.
Again, I am saddled with another assignment. The first one was for me to pray. So I will just do a little justice to it. But first and foremost, I have to say thank you to God Almighty, who has given us the strength and has given us the enablement, has given us the grace to even put up this. The hurdles that we passed through has not been easy. Imagine that we had 2 days and only to be told that on Tuesday that Thursday was Senate meeting, that was a directive from the Vice Chancellor. We now put it up for today, only to be told that commendation service will take place the same venue. And God had his way by also making them shorten the time from 9 to 10 to enable us fix this. So we give God all the glory and thanks for his faithfulness. I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor who came through the DVC, Professor Enang. She did justice to welcome address and opening the ceremony, though the ceremony has started before then. I will equally thank the Dean, Faculty of Educational and Foundational Studies, Professor Love Asor. Though she has left on an emergency, she would have been here till the end. But we thank her for her motherly role she has played. We thank her for even accepting this workshop to come to pass. We thank her for all that she has done, her efforts to supporting it. I will also want to thank the HOD of Educational Technology Department. He is one of its kind. He is a man that has a kind heart and has the interests of the student at heart. So he has been here from the beginning to the end. So thank you so much, Dr. Anthony Bisson. My professor, Professor Eno Asukwo, Professor of Educational Technology. She has also been very supportive and she has been around from the beginning to the end. Ma, thank you so much. Every other person that has come to the high table and has left, we thank them in absentia as well. Our able presenter, our magical presenter, thank you so much. May the Lord reveal whatever virtue that has gone out of you in Jesus' name. Thank you. Then the committee members, you people have been wonderful. They call you at night, you answer. Mrs. Mary Edet, the secretary, she has been on her toes from day one. And every other committee members who have served in this committee, please, thank you very much. Dr. Kirian, I cannot forget that. Dr. Kirian, thank you. And even the music department that came in person, Nathaniel, thank you so much. I will not fail to thank Dr. Mai, Dr. Peter Adigeb, and every other, Dr. Ini, thank you so much. The Episcopal of Edu Technology, I cannot forget that. If not, my blessing will just go. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. Every other professors who have come around, I was surprised to see Dr. Agnes Okute. She came so early, and I was like, this super lioness has always been on point. She's eager to learn, just like myself. Always having the appetite to know research further.